guys, it's ToProForuGames or Adam, and welcome back to another Fortnite video. And for once, we are not doing a top 5 or a top 10. As you guys can see by the title of today's video, I played 100 games of Fortnite without building, and I had some really interesting results. So before we jump into today's video, I want to kind of announce my giveaway for June. So instead of doing these individual giveaways on certain videos, I'll be doing one big giveaway for the month of June. You guys can enter on every single Fortnite video I post over the next month. So to enter, guys, it's so simple. All you have to do is drop a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel, and let me guys know right now in the comment section below, what platform do you play Fortnite on? So here in Fortnite, we've all been there when we just don't build at all. And usually that's at the very start. When you first start playing, the building mechanics to us are so new and it's just so difficult to build, and we try our hardest to build, we get shot at, but it's difficult, right? Building is not easy to master here in Fortnite. But what happens when you are better at Fortnite, you're more experienced, and then you take away the building mechanics? And that's what I decided to do here in today's video. So I played 100 matches without building at all. And I mean absolutely, I cannot build at all. I can't build ramps to get to chests. I can't, you know, build not even one plank to use a launch pad. Absolutely no building at all. And I got some really interesting results that I think you guys will be surprised by. So let's go ahead and start off today's video by looking at my first 10 matches. So going into this, I had a lot of different expectations, but for the most part, I was expecting something along the lines of this. But what really happened was this.
Bruh.
Game number 1, I only had one thing in mind. I simply just didn't want to build. I didn't want to build by accident. I wanted to get through one game without building at all, and I was successful with that. I got a total of 3 kills. I got top 15, but unfortunately, I got pinched between 2 players, and yeah, I couldn't build, so I got 1 pumped in the head. So in game number 2, I definitely made some progress. I got 5 kills instead of 3. Unfortunately, I did not make it to the top 15. I only got like top 30, and all 5 of my kills were within the spawn, and then I kind of remembered that I suck at Fortnite, and this guy absolutely wrecked me. Game number 3 didn't go so well. For game number 4, I decided to land at Greasy Grove because I had a weekly challenge that I wanted to complete. I got 5 nice, easy shotgun kills there, and then I decided to make my way to the circle, and I oofed. That was kind of rough, but that's what happens when you choose not to build. But you know what? I redeemed myself in game number 5. I got a total of 7 kills, and on top of that, I made it to a top 5 situation. But I was in a really awkward spot, and since I couldn't build, I decided to blow myself up. So after falling to my death and then blowing myself up in a top 5 situation, I actually wanted to redeem myself this time, and I did. I got a total of 7 kills, just like the previous game, but the difference between this game and the last game was I actually got my first win without building, and it looked a little something like this. So in game number 7, I was looking for my first back-to-back win already without building, and for the longest time, I actually thought I was going to pull this off. The final circle was at Tilted Towers, and I got into a 1v1 situation, and then I got sniped out of existence. For game 8, well, you guys already know all about game 8. So in game number 9, I somehow made it to a top 5 situation with only 1 kill, and then I got sniped with a shotgun, and in game number 10, well, I didn't last that long. So the reason why I wanted to highlight those first 10 games was because after the 10th game, I really began to become consistent with my playstyle and my games, because the big thing I had to get used to when doing this was I had to change the way I played. I could no longer be an aggressive player. I could no longer just run up to somebody who has a tower built and shotgun them in the head by building up to their tower, because I couldn't build, and being caught in open areas was a big no-no. I was still kind of aggressive. I would run around around, but if I saw somebody who had a tower or height advantage on me and it was an open area, I had to stay back. I had actually no choice, because if I did go out there, it would be an easy kill for the opponent. So once my playstyle changed and I got used to that playstyle, I became super consistent with my games. So there's two more things that I want to talk about for the rest of the video. One thing is I want to touch a little bit more about my playstyle and exactly what I had to do and how I had to play in order to be successful without building. And the second thing, of course, guys, is talking about my overall results and what I learned from doing this challenge. So it was somewhere between game 10 and 15 where I kind of realized that, you know what, I can actually do this. I can actually play really well and get wins without having to build at all here in Fortnite. Now, don't get me wrong, there were situations where I wish I could have built. I wish I could have built up that mountain so I could have had height advantage, or just dropped a couple of walls so I could have blocked some shots in an open field. But for the most part, not having to build wasn't the end of the world, or it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So one more thing I want to mention about my playstyle, because this kind of ties into the results we're talking about next, is one thing that I really had to do when I was playing more cautious, or one thing I saw myself doing a lot more, was I was super aware of my surroundings. And when I was playing normally and I was building and doing all that stuff, I really wasn't noticing what was going on around me as much as I probably should. And since I've been doing this no build challenge, all of a sudden, I'm super aware of what's around me, because I have to know where my cover is, or because I can only use what's on the map as cover, or where the circle might be, and if it moves there, where can I take cover just in case someone shoots at me. And since I was so aware of my surroundings, I was also aware of who was around me and when they were shooting at me and where they were, and it really, really helped me. So here we are, guys. It's time to go over the results of my 100 games. And I've broken it down into a bunch of categories. The first category I have is early deaths, so anything where I play 16th or worse, and then I have top 15, so that includes also another category for wins and another category for second place finishes within the top 15 category. All right, so starting things off with the amount of times I finished top 15 in 100 games was 85 games. So 85 out of 100 games, I finished top 15 without building. So that means I had 15 early deaths. Again, that's 16th or worse. That number right there just shocks me so much. 85 out of 100 games, I finished 15th or better. And it was around game 20 where I began to notice that my games were pretty consistent. I was going far very consistently, and that's something that's kind of carried on, and that definitely has to do with my change in my game style, or the way I played. I had to be a lot more cautious, and since I was more cautious, that was meaning much longer games and all those, you know, top 15 finishes. So out of those 85 games, I had 18 second place finishes, and for wins, I had 19 wins. And the wins was something I wasn't expecting. I was hoping I could get like 10 wins. I was not expecting 19. And the big thing for me, though, is the 18 second place finishes. Right off the bat, or after game 10, I really began noticing that I had a lot of second place finishes. And the reason for a lot of those second place finishes was simply because I couldn't build in those situations. People were outbuilding me, they were destroying my cover, the circle was so small, and I kind of just was screwed. I had to get a lucky headshot, or something had to go in my favor, and in those games, obviously it didn't. But overall, I'm incredibly surprised by these numbers. So that means around half of my deaths, exactly 48 of my deaths, were between 15th spot and the 3rd spot, which is just absolutely crazy. And so many of those deaths were just from being in an open area and not being able to build, and you know, so many people are now in this smaller circle, and there's really, you know, not much I could have done in those situations. But overall, guys, these stats are pretty insane, and I'm really surprised by a lot of them. One thing that I do have to mention quickly is, through the video, you've been seeing gameplay in the background, and I didn't show all my wins. I didn't show all my games, obviously, because there's just like hours upon hours upon hours of footage, and I couldn't use all of it in like this 10-minute video, so you only saw some of the better games, and some of my wins were slow. I actually had one win where I had 0 kills because the guy died by a storm, but there were some slow games in here. But overall, my opinion really has changed on building here in Fortnite. Going into this, I thought building is a must. If you don't build, you won't win. And if you're someone who's new at the game, of course, building is important. And even though I did this, I still think building is important, but I don't think it's as important as I once thought. So, should you build in Fortnite? Absolutely. Building in Fortnite is definitely important, but again, I don't think it's as important as I thought it was. You don't have to be a master builder in order to get wins consistently. If you can just be decent at building, but you're cautious, you're aware of your surroundings, and I don't mean be a camper, I just mean be cautious of your surroundings. Don't be over crazy aggressive unless that's your play style and you're really good at it. But if you're somebody who hasn't always been the greatest rusher in video games, then consider being a little bit more cautious. You know, build when you have to, but building isn't that important, and I kind of proved it here with today's video. Besides that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe for more Fortnite videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.